Good afternoon and welcome into the Discraft Great Lakes Open presented by Garrett J. Verberg. Terry Miller, and joining us first is tournament director in Nate Heinold. Nate, it was 3 weeks ago to the day that we were talking and Ledgestone was just kicking off. That also was an Elite Plus event. So a couple of questions. First of all, what does Elite Plus mean? And second of all, are you crazy?
Yeah, I think I'm crazy. The Elite Plus is a lot of fun for us because a 3-round event can be, I wouldn't say fluky, but you could have a winner that maybe pops off one round and kind of is able to get out ahead. A 4-round winner, as Gannon has shown 6 of the last 7 MPO events, a 4-round winner, you're consistently there every round. And it's nicer to have the extra day for competition and to get spectators out here more, and so we really enjoy it. So,
let's go there for a moment with regards to Gannon. Are you just setting him up for success week in and week out? What is it about 4 rounds that someone like Gannon is able to take advantage of that extra play and cement himself with all these massive victories?
I mean, at the end of the day, a 4-round event allows, I hate to say it, allows the top players to just come to the top, but it does. They're able to have a 10-30 round and maybe still win. But I do think Toboggan this year, we did make enough changes that I don't think they favor anybody, but they do make the course better. And so I think for Gannon to win, he's going to have to still play amazing. He's going to have to shoot 1060 golf, and if he does that, I think he has a chance, but I think other players have a chance as well. So,
well, we'll tie these both together. We'll tie Gannon Buhr's outward maybe frustrations or distaste for the course, along with what you just mentioned, some changes. So break those down for us, and are any of these in direct response to what Gannon's been talking about? Let's talk course changes, though.
Yeah, no, I respect Gannon a lot. I mean, obviously he's a great champion, and I heard what he said. He said it privately and, on his YouTube channel last year. I don't think he was even right last year. I think some of the things he said were accurate. Obviously, I think the main complaint he had were some of these holes don't have scoring separation and the rough is brutal. And yeah, the rough is brutal. We spent a lot of time cleaning up some of the holes, and so the biggest change I think people will notice, the players at least, maybe not the spectators, but hole 17 we took a lot of rough away. Hole 11 we took, honestly, maybe a half acre away of the olives, and so we did that for spectators. I mean, it wasn't just Gannon's feedback. AB walked off the course last year and whispered and said, "My legs are killing me," and so I think we wanted to cut them back. The park usually does it every 3 or 4 years, and that hasn't happened in 4 years, and so we did selectively cut it back. But but I respect Gannon and all the players' feedback. We have to take it all together, though, and I heard comments from other players saying they love Toboggan, and so I can't just listen to one player and make changes based on that. But we've been wanting to make the change on 15 for several years, so we have a new long tee on 15 for MPO, and then we moved FPO to the old MPO tee and made that a par 5 for both of them. And so I'm very excited for that change. Hole 2 has a new pin just right behind us here for MPO for 2 rounds. Hole 11, which is the hole we took out a lot of the olives on, that hole didn't have a lot of scoring separation. So Gannon wasn't wrong there. We added a new pin for MPO. FPO already played good, and so that hole for 11 is going to be a must-get birdie, I think, for the MPO players now. 10, we actually shortened the pin, but added OB on all sides. And that hole was 80% par last year, 75% par, just not good enough for the scoring separation. New pin on 12 as well, and so minor changes, but big change on 15 for sure.
Well, and that leads to looking ahead already to next year, where we're going to be back here for the World Championships. Do you anticipate even more changes, maybe after you take a look at the data from this weekend and then assess what needs to possibly be even tweaked yet again for next year's Worlds?
I mean, this is my 5th year in the event. We've made changes every year. We've changed hole 18 in a large way. We added hole 5 and 6. I think the course is very, very close. I have a couple other minor changes in mind for hole 9 and then for potentially hole 15 again, but pretty minor. Our big focus will be on the other course the rest of this year and next year. So,
well, let's go right to the other course and talk about that. I'm almost surprised in a sense, and I understand it's a major undertaking, but I'm surprised we're not playing that at all right now in somewhat of a preparation for next year. Where's that course? Where does it stand right now in terms of what needs to be adjusted or worked on?
The course is cut. We've been mowing it for a year now, and so there's 13 holes on the existing locust course that I've tweaked some of those, and then we built 5 new holes across the path or across the road along the lake. Those holes are cut. They've been mowed for a year. The main reason we're not playing it this year is because the park did not want it to be used this year, and so they wanted it to be just for the event. Now we're going to have it open actually Monday after D-Glow for a test event. Right now the course is not ready for Worlds. It needs some TLC. All the pads are in, the baskets are in. We put a ton of mulch out here. We've been focusing on toboggan. If we had to play Worlds in a month, it would be ready, but it needs some TLC right now. It needs a bunch of mulch, but it'll be ready to go. It's not ready right now, but it's all cut. All the trees that need to be cut are gone. A few branches have come down in some storms that we need to cut down, but we can't cut anything with oak in the summer here, so.
Well, and we're kind of already bleeding into my next question, which is when do you feel comfortable saying, hey, come out and play the course? It's essentially in, World's ready style. Like, when do you expect that to be?
We need to get a map, and we're going to get a map out tomorrow to some players. But right now, the first 13 holes will be playable as of tonight, actually. And so we have the pins in the ground. They've been in the ground. They need a map to do it, and we're going to get them that. The back 5 holes are cut. There'll be baskets in the ground tonight, actually, but they won't be playable throughout the winter. I mean, you can go throw the fairways. The sleeve is there and the tee is there, but it'll be more available next summer on a available basis for players to get out and play. But the first 13 holes are there and permanent, and they'll be played. They've been played for the last few months, and they'll be played for the next year. So.
All right. Well, I want to move back to this event here this weekend. And obviously, we've seen you work so closely with Discraft, with Zuka, some of our endemic sponsors that we've had within the sport. But more recently, it's been outside sponsors. I look at Vessi. And then even this weekend's presenting sponsor. Yeah. Explain that relationship, who they are, and what it means to the event.
We have a great relationship with the Discrafts and the Zukas, and very proud to have their support. But I'm more proud to get Jarrett J. Verberg Company, which is a candy company just out of Fenton, Michigan here. And their CFO messaged me a few years ago and said, hey, I want to sponsor D-Glow. It was a small sponsorship. His name's Jason Jones, and he goes to Europe every year to play disc golf. And his father-in-law owns the company, and they are super excited to be in disc golf. And they're the presenting sponsor. They're one of our big sponsors for Worlds next year. We have Vessi that's now sponsoring our events, First Form. And so we're getting more traction to get these outside companies that have large followings. I mean, First Form they have 500 employees, and they have a large network of people connected to that company, and so we're super excited to have those companies involved.
I don't know if this is a chicken and the egg scenario, but is it the big events that it's attracting these large sponsors, or do these large sponsors somehow find them when they're smaller and they help make them bigger? Where are we, and why are you having so much success with it?
I wish it was them finding us. Yes, Jason from Garrett J. Verberg messaged me, but it started very small, and we had to really overpromise and overdeliver, to be honest, to get them to come back and continue to come back. Discraft and Zuka and those kind of companies, I think they just want to support the sport. But for the non-endemic sponsors, we have to show them an ROI. And I think we've been very successful in doing a lot of creative things. With Vessi, we built a very expensive shoe and floated it on the water and did an ace competition. With First Form and Vessi and Garrett J. Verberg, we're doing a lot of creative marketing to get awareness for their brands and doing giveaways and email marketing to our large subscriber base. And so if you want to keep the non-endemic sponsor, you have to do way more than we used to do in terms of, it's not good enough to put banners on the course and feather flags and a DGN ad. That stuff is great, but it's not hitting enough of the market. We have to do way more.
All right. Well, if you need any help with some of this candy sponsorship, I know a guy, and that's me, who loves candy. Everyone, that's Nate Heinold. Thank you for joining us. Best of luck to you and your entire staff and crew this weekend. And when we come back, we'll have Holyn Handley. Welcome back. Joining us now is Holyn Handley, our defending champion of this event from last year. I'll lead with that. Compare last year and your skill sets and your mentality versus what you're feeling right now as you sit down.
Skill set wise, I feel like my forehand's looking a lot better right now. I feel like I'm controlling my angles a little bit better. I might even have a little extra distance. I'm noticing maybe getting a little bit further on some of these tee shots. But yeah, I had a good off week. I got a lot of field work in, trying to get my backhand back dialed. I feel like it's been a little off the last couple of tournaments, but I'm feeling really good.
Good to hear, and you are already going right to my next question, which is, you've been such a beacon of consistency as this year had kicked off, and you've struggled. You've tripped up a little bit and not performed as consistently as you did at the beginning of the year. Did you just answer that question as to what that's been? Is that your backhand, or is that something else physical or mental?
I think it's a few things kind of all converging at the same time, but if I look at my past seasons, I always kind of have a little lull somewhere in the season. Usually it's been earlier in the year in years past, so kind of realizing that and not reading too deeply into like, oh my God, did I lose it? Am I terrible now? I don't think that's the case. I think it's an unusual thing to have as consistent of a season as I've had so far. The regular thing is to kind of have those ups and downs. So there's that. And then kind of looking into my, my Ledgestone rounds and even into some of my Out of Wild rounds and kind of being like, okay, what actually was going wrong here? And how can I address it? And so I've just been kind of picking those things apart and using this off time to kind of get back dialed in.
And with regard to that off time, where was that spent? And then when you're out working on your game, what are the exact things that you're trying to dial in?
Yeah, the biggest thing that I focused on this past week was kind of my backhand. It's been, it was a little bit off at Ledgestone, and then I feel like that plus I kind of got some of the more unlucky breaks, especially when I was playing my first round at Sunset. I felt like I got some pretty mean rollaways that I don't normally get, so it was kind of a mix of being a little bit off and then also getting some bad breaks. I just try to find a gap somewhere in a field, and in this case there was an electrical pole with some cables coming off of it, and it made a nice tiny gap, and I was just trying to get back dialed in of okay, what am I doing mechanically that's not letting me hit these gaps? And then I kind of found, trying to hit the line with my elbow and keeping the rest of my body nice and relaxed was really helping me hit my lines again. And played some casual rounds while we were hanging out in Ann Arbor last week, and things were looking a lot better. And then also the putting side of things, I felt like I was missing a lot of my putts low, especially at Out of Wild. So kind of reframing and, not requiring that I have to make every putt, but rather let's at least give every putt a chance. Let's at least be confident with our runs. And if I miss, make sure we're missing high and we're not missing low. And I think that's been looking better this week. And then of course, always spending time on the short game. Got a lot done this week.
Well, it sounds very productive. You were sitting here as we just heard Nate Heinold answer a few questions with regard to some of the course changes. I look for your insight on that. Do you have any input on to what you've seen with what they've done with the course and made some adjustments?
Yeah, our biggest changes were, I think, 14 and 15, which I think 14 was a great change. It was kind of a boring hole. Last year you kind of have to hit a gap off the tee, but for the most part, you're just throwing a big shot out into a field and then just whatever up shot you want. So now that we're having to throw uphill and then deal with that bad footing on the up shot, I think is really good. I think 15 is going to play really hard. It was already a pretty hard par 4, but that distance from that top of the hill shot's actually pretty good, I think, for our field and our capabilities. So it's kind of cool. It's hard to make a good par 5, and I think it was already there, so it's great that they were able to incorporate it this year. And then, of course, they added OB in a few spots. I think hole 10 didn't have OB before, and it's pretty tight now. That'll definitely save some time, but, it takes away kind of that scrambling element, makes you play a little bit more conservative off the tee. But for the most part, I'm really happy with the changes.
And my last question for you will be, Discraft's Backyard, obviously one of their flagship events here. Any extracurriculars or obligations you're going to have off the course being a team member of theirs?
Yeah, there's always a little bit. Actually, less than I was expecting. We didn't have to do any media days or any photos or anything like that. I did just have a practice round with a couple of AM players. who absolutely rip. They're both playing FA1. One of them actually just got 5th at CCR last week. Kylie, she's going to be playing in FPO. She'll be on 3rd card, so she might be on coverage for a little bit. But I was teasing her a little bit. It's like, you might have a camera on you. And if you're throwing like this, you're going to have a camera on you. She was really ripping today, so that was super fun.
Awesome. Well, I hope you have a good time. Best of luck in defending your title. And now we've got Sarah Holcomb with a few more questions for you.
Hey, Holyn.
Hey.
Speaking of defending your title, is there any strategies you have right now to kind of relieve the pressure of defending a title like this?
Honestly, I think having 2 poor finishes back-to-back kind of relieves some pressure. It's almost like, when you're feeling really nervous going into a tournament and you just start with a double bogey, you almost kind of exhale and release a little bit of that pressure because the bad thing already happened. And you didn't die. Your friends still like you. Your family still loves you. Everything's still fine. So I'm just choosing to be really excited about it. This is one of my favorite tournaments. I feel like the local community here really supports me. So just going to choose to have fun.
Awesome. And then as far as your gameplay, are there any strategies that you specifically use on a course like this with so much elevation, whether that's disc choice or line shaping? What strategies do you use on this course to help you be successful?
Yeah, I kind of break the course into little smaller chunks, and I'll kind of look at different holes of, do I need to try to push hard to score here, or can I kind of play it a little bit safer? Because there's some holes where if you can score, you can get a birdie, but it's really, really hard. Most of the field isn't going to get it. So I kind of have to ask the question of, am I losing more strokes by being aggressive here than I'm actually gaining over the course of a whole tournament? And I think having several years having played there, I've got a pretty good idea of which holes I can push and which holes I can't. So it's really being very picky about when I'm aggressive and when I'm just trying to keep the disc in bounds.
Speaking of being aggressive, are you going to be aggressive on 15? Do you think you can turn that corner?
I'm not planning to try to turn the corner. No, I'm going to take an overstable vulture, keep it low and wide, and try to put it around the short tee pad.
All right. And then last question. This course is often considered a forehand-friendly course. Would you agree with that, or do you think it's pretty balanced?
I think it's pretty balanced. I think most of the places where a forehand comes in handy, you've got enough room to work a turnover if you need to. I would say hole 1 obviously is a huge advantage to have a forehand, but since I think most of the field ends up playing it for par, I think it's kind of a wash either way. And then maybe hole 8 is a little bit better for forehand this year. That branch right off the tee is kind of grown in quite a bit, which makes the backhand tricky. And then I would say 11 and 13 are also really good forehand holes. But I think you can definitely make those work with a turnover if you've got a good turnover game.
All right. Well, thank you.
And with that, we wish you the best of luck, Holyn. And when we return, we'll have Gannon Buhr, our MPO champion from last year. We'll see you then.
Cool.
Welcome back. Gannon Buhr, who won this event last year, joins us now. And Gannon, I'm going to lead with probably one of the more commonly talked about aspects, which is your overall distaste for this course. You've been vocal about it. That's why I don't have any problem bringing it up right away. Explain how you felt and if any of those feelings have changed since you've arrived in the last few days.
Yeah, I do think the course has made some improvements. So I'll say, I'm definitely appreciative of the work that they put out here. I think the big problem I had in the past, especially, a lot of it was kind of just what kind of started in like 2022 was the back nine, including hole 9 even, was just a lot of really far par threes with a lot of thick rough and no out of bounds. And so typically you saw a lot of people get very similar scores, whether you put it 50 feet away, miss your putt, or you threw a horrible drive, you were 200 feet away and then still got up and down, and there's no score separation. I remember checking my PDJ Live one time, and you just expand it, and it's just a string of white numbers for the entire field down the entire back nine. And I think they did a better job this year of adding some OB. Hole 10 was shortened by about 45 feet, but also tight OB around the entire hole, which is exactly what I've been trying to express, what I think would improve this place quite a bit. I think the holes have a lot of potential, but you gotta give that risk reward factor when it comes to throwing these holes. I think it should be scary when you step up to the hole instead of just thinking par or birdie. Bogey actually comes into play now, so that was good to see. And then they even made the OB on let me see, they actually made the OB on 3 and 15 slightly easier, which I guess I'm fine with that. I don't have a huge opinion on those holes specifically, but I think it's going to entice more people to go for hole 15. I think last year some people might have just pitched to the top of the hill, so now people might end up going for that hole now. I love the change on hole 14. That was that hole I was talking about before, but hole 15, I love the change with the par 5 now. I think might create some potential backups, but that's kind of expected to be out here with how thick the rough is. But I think that hole's going to play pretty fun. I think we're going to see a couple eagles for the whole weekend, so my goal is to get it one round. It's a lot to ask. It's a very far tee shot, but so I think that was a great change. And then 17, they cut some stuff out on the right, but also brought the OB further right. So the course is going to play pretty solid this year, maybe half a stroke to a stroke easier, I think. But overall, definitely some improvements there.
And just over your left shoulder, we actually see a new basket placement for hole number 2. Any insight on that?
Yeah, I'm not a huge fan of it. I don't really feel like the gap is that consistent. I also don't love the mound kind of before the basket there. I actually haven't even really played it because of how weird it looks, in my opinion. So we'll see how it plays out. I'm going to go right now and practice it, try to figure out what type of shot it is into the green. But it's just a very interesting hole shape because of how late the turn is to the right. I'm assuming it's going to play maybe even a little harder than the long pin, actually, just because it's harder to access. But so I'm curious to see how that one kind of averages out for the field.
Now, let's look at last weekend. It was kind of a mixed bag for a lot of people. Some people were already in Michigan playing in another event. Some people took off. We just heard Holyn Handley say she was working on her game. Where were you and what were you doing?
Yeah, I was in Akron, Ohio doing the Urban Disc Golf event. So I got to teach a clinic with Gavin and Sully, and we went there and we played 27 holes in the city of Akron, just throughout the downtown area. It was really fun, throwing through parking garages and skipping off, big parking lots, stuff like that. So that was a ton of fun, actually. I look forward to that event every year. I think we had 350 people come out. We also did a signing session for a couple hours the day before. So really successful weekend there, had a ton of fun, and it was kind of nice just to take a break from the tour to mentally reset before this kind of grueling last stretch.
Well, I'll follow that up with someone reached out to me. I don't recall all the details, but they reached out to me yesterday and said that they were rushing to the hospital when it was all said and done. They had a child and have named him Gannon. What's your reaction? And it's in a direct response to being named after you as a disc golfer. What's your response to that?
Yeah, that's crazy. That's awesome. I think that's maybe baby 2 or 3 I've been told it's named after me, so that's kind of special, I guess. I means I'm doing something right. But I made some really weird joke. I was like, hey, if, you name your kid Gannon, you get a free disc, and they're like, we actually are. I'm like, okay, take a free disc. So that's awesome.
Well, maybe that leads to my next one of my next research findings that I had, talking about the year you had last year in your earnings. Maybe somebody's looking for a godfather out there, but your earnings last year, of course, you set the record at $211,000 and change, And when I did some of the math, you're actually on a slightly better pace right now. If you were to do everything you did last year to close out the season, which was of course historic, you would be on pace for 217,000, assuming similar payouts and so forth. Have you thought about that?
I have, and I thought about. I wanted to try and tie the amount of wins I got last year, which was 9, including the Tour Championship. So at this point, I have to win 4 of the last 5, which is what I did last year. And I think, out here, it suits my game. I think the Green Mountain courses suit my game. Really, the only course I don't feel as comfortable with is the Maple Hill MVP Open, but I have got 3rd there twice. So I've been in contention. I just haven't closed it out there yet. So it kind of feels like it's about time I can do that there. So I'm feeling good. It's going to start with this weekend. I gave myself a really good chance at Idlewild. Obviously, kind of came down to 2 players there at the end. So I feel like I did most of my job that weekend, and just got to put that behind me. And yeah, hopefully, I definitely think I can win out. I think I can win the next 5 events for sure. But it's going to take consistency. It's going to take mental fortitude, not giving up, and just playing the way I have been playing. So my game hasn't felt amazing this week. I think part of that might be the week off that I took, but going to go out there today, try to figure some things out, game plan the course, and I think just do the same thing I did last year here and hopefully have a solid event. This tournament's actually very important, honestly, for getting the ratings record, because I think if I did the math correctly, I need to average around like 1067 for the event here to then break the ratings record. I think if I shoot somewhere around 1060 average, I'll tie the ratings record. So that's definitely in the back of my mind, so I'm not going to be taking it lightly this weekend. I'm going to give it my all. I'm never going to give up and keep pushing forward.
Well, since you're doing way more math than most of us, do you have an idea what 1067 average looks like score-wise? What do you think that translates to you needing to shoot out here?
Yeah.
And does that put more pressure on you?
Definitely a bit of pressure, especially if I have like a rough start. If out here I've been 3 over through 6 here multiple times. I've just I've had ups and downs at this course as well. I think it's going to take about a 9 down average per round. The weather looks pretty good this weekend. It's typically a little bit windy out here. Today's pretty windy, so I wouldn't be surprised if it's somewhat breezy throughout the weekend. I think it's not going to be that hot either, which is definitely not benefiting me. I'd prefer to play in the heat just because I like the way the grip is, and also I don't have to use a hand warmer. So, yeah, I think I'm just going to take what it gives me, battle through the adversity if any comes, and yeah, I know how to play out here. I just want to give myself chances. I think my main goal out here is just to not take as many bogeys. So that way, I think I'm going to give myself probably anywhere from 8 to 10 birdie looks around. So as long as I can keep the bogeys low, I should do just fine.
Going back just a moment, I find it interesting. I asked you basically about the money earnings record, and you immediately went to win count. So then my question, I'll kind of reword it, is one more important than the other? Do you care about breaking your own record in terms of the money earned in a year?
It'd be cool. Obviously, it's kind of a shot in the dark a little bit. Like I said, I did it last year pretty much, except for just the MVP Open. I won out from this point. So I know it's possible, and I'm feeling good about my game right now. My confidence is very high in the last month, getting a major win at the Worlds, getting second place at another major, getting outplayed by just barely a stroke, and then obviously you got the Ledgestone win pretty commanding, and then the Idlewild almost got that. So last month has been really solid for me. So I think my confidence is at an all-time high right now. And yeah, I'm not really focused on one or the other. I think they're gonna kind of come together, I guess, is a good way to put it. I think, it's just gonna happen how it happens. I'm not gonna be disappointed if I only get 2 more wins for the season. I'll be just fine with that. If I didn't win any more tournaments the rest of the season, I'd be fine with my season. I obviously would be disappointed I didn't get a win, because I assume I'm gonna have decent chances to win the next 5 events. But yeah, so hopefully just get at least a couple of them, and if I can get them all, that'd be awesome.
Certainly going to be a dogfight out there. Well, go find some hand warmers. The temps may only reach the mid-60s throughout this week, which is quite a change. A big Arctic blast is kind of coming through in the next 24 hours. So everyone that's Gannon Buhr, stay warm out there. And when we return, we'll have Ohn Scoggins. Welcome back, everyone. Masters World Champ, FPO World Champ, Idlewild Champ. We don't have time for all of your accolades here, Ohn. What a season you've been having. Congratulations on the win last weekend. How did you celebrate? That's what people really want to know. How does Ohn go out and celebrate another win?
I'm going quite hard.
Yes.
I'm going quite hard. I have beer, I have wine. We went out to sushi, you know, just who I am, you know. I just like to go hard. Like I said, even lose or win, I'm always celebrate anyway, you know, because just pretty much like your job is done, you know, on that day or that week. So, yeah, you're going to see me like drunk out there.
All right. Well, I think you completely embody the work hard and play hard. So that makes perfect sense, and everyone loves that. 3 weeks ago, when we were talking just before Ledgestone, you said one of your favorite memories was the crowds and the galleries that you saw in Finland. Just so many people. Michigan also turns out. We've got great crowds, great galleries out here. What does that do for you in terms of playing in front of so many excited fans?
Always nervous. I feel like every player probably is just like me. We're nervous and also we're exciting. We love to see people coming. You know, it's good for us. It's good for the Pro Tour. It's just good for everyone. You know, pretty much like everybody enjoy good time. But to perform in front of a lot of people is something else. Is something is if you not get used to it, it's gonna pretty much like rule your game. To be honest. But thank God we are like used to here and there. But even that, we still have some nerve. Yeah.
Also, what you told me a few weeks ago was that your goal was to still try and win a Pro Tour event this season. Well, you did that last weekend. So I have to ask, what's the new goal? What is, from here to the end of the year, what else do you want to try and accomplish?
Top 10. I would love to finish all my tournament, all of this, top 10 if I can, because I already reached my goal. Win World, win ROI. Now top 10 will be my next one, my third dream come true. But we'll see, because I know like I feel like this court is harder for me this year. The OB line is tighter, especially when you throw not far, you know, you kind of like easier for you to go OB. And then uphill one. So they add like, I feel like a 2 more hole difference. So that will be no birdie for me. We'll see.
How do you feel about that when you get to a hole that they're typically par threes that maybe are outside of your range? Is it just lock in and make sure that you get the par? Or are you always thinking, man, there's got to be some way I can birdie this? How are you thinking about those difficult par threes?
I'm always try to birdie, no matter what. Even I feel like I feel like I'm not going to birdie, but I like to give myself extra try, you know. But sometimes if I try and then I fail, and then I'll learn the medicine, and then I will lay up for par. So I feel like, but most of the time I'm just gonna keep myself for looking first. 2-3 hole, I feel like it's hard for me to birdie. Depend on my first drive where I land. If it's too much, and then I'm just gonna laying up, because par is okay. Because I know sometimes if you try too hard, you can go to the bush. So I feel like play smart is good in this course. Yeah.
My last question for you will be, you know, you're just talking about the top 10, but you're sitting in second in the Pro Tour standings. What does that mean to you?
Well, surprise! I didn't know that. That's good to know, because I'm just too busy. I didn't even look at that. But somehow, I don't know. How can I be top 2? Maybe because a lot of people not play Pro Tour enough. Maybe some people still have 3 or 4 need to play, and then some people might be played too much and cross out already, you know. I didn't even look at me, like, do I cross out yet or not? But I'm pretty sure the end of this year, I'm probably might be go down to maybe top 6, because some of the course I might not playing good in the end of this season, but you never know. I feel like top 8 is good for me.
All right. Well, you made me double check. Yes, you have 1,682 points right now, and you're only sitting behind Holyn Handley. So
Man, she's good.
That consistency doesn't surprise me. I've got Sarah Holcomb with a few more questions for you.
Yeah, what's up?
Hey, Ohn.
Hey, what's up?
Mike, I'm curious about how your body feels. This will be your 4th event in a row. You played, even though Idlewild you won 2 weekends ago. Last weekend you actually played just an A tier here in the CCR and played well there. How's your body feel after not getting a break?
Feel like you hit like you. It feel like you hit by a truck,
Right?
feel like you hit by a truck. My bone cracking, my muscle, my leg screaming. My bone is. I can hurt my bone sound when I'm shower or whatever. Get up on my bed, but I keep pushing. I always keep pushing. I feel like I just want to work hard when I still have energy to do it. I believe in. We all, some point, our body is gonna crumble down. I feel like right now, if my body still can handle it, I want to push it through. And if that time coming, and then you're gonna see me lie down on the bed a lot, so you're not gonna see my face out there. So, yeah, just keep pushing. Eat healthy. Drink a little bit. It's okay too.
So no prioritization of rest at all? Do you prioritize rest in any way? No.
I don't think so. I feel like I can keep going every week. I can keep going every week because I feel like my body is tired, but I have a good sleep every night. I have a good sleep. I'm eating good. I feel my body is kind of like not bad for 44 years old. I'm not. You know, like I'm thinking. Come on, man. You know.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So yeah, keep pushing when you still have energy. Yeah.
Have you felt any shift in your mind frame since your Worlds win?
Me? Yeah.
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 What kind of shift have you felt?
Well, there's a camera right there. Well, world champion. How about that? Feeling world champion. That's how I feel. Chipping hard on that one. Sometimes I have to remind myself, ooh, on you, world champion. Kidding, I'm kidding. No, just the same, you know, feel the same. Just here and there, still working hard on it. Nothing changed much, you know, still sleep on my van. Take my carpet out, cooking outside, so nothing changed.
Well, and kind of, I'll finish up with you got second last year, first the year before, and second the year before that. You've had a lot of success out here. What do you think about your particular game that makes you successful on a course like this?
Pretty much like the layout area. What you call so I plan where is the good upshot. Placement, you call placement, yeah. So even I'm not birdie, but I feel like I need to throw and land right here. So it's give me to throw backhand and side arm to be near the basket. So pretty much the placement is very my goal to play in this court because of course I cannot like crush it. So and also if you crush it and then you're not accuracy, you can go to the booth. So for me, it's just placement. It's gonna be the same this year.
Great. Well, good luck this week. Well, I'll be rooting for you.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
And after this, we'll have Kyle Klein on our way back in.
Welcome back, everyone. Kyle Klein joins us. And Kyle, a couple weeks ago in Idlewild in Kentucky, you finished fourth there. very competitive track. Obviously, it was a battle that you watched unfold, but fourth place finish, how does that feel? How does your game feel right now at this point in the season?
Yeah, I mean, I think Ledgestone and Idlewild, I went second, fourth, those two events even. So it feels good. I mean, my backhand timing and my just throw overall backhand the last couple weeks hasn't been great. It's normally something I can rely on, but it was just nowhere to be found then. So I had really to rely on my putt and my forehand. But this week it feels better. I kind of took a little time off and just let my bag sit and picked it back up this week. I'm feeling better than I had the last couple weeks, so I'm excited for that.
Well, that's great insight that I'll follow up on, which is when you feel like something's off, is that usually your solution is to rest, or like we heard from Holyn Handley, she went out and dialed in and focused in more and played more and figured it out. For you, is it normally one solution or the other?
Yeah, for me, normally I just, like, if something's like that, I know what kind of player I am. I know how my body works. I'm just going to take a few days off and let it just it'll just reset itself eventually. It's never really helped me too much to go out there and stay on the field for an hour or two and just try to lock it down. That only seems to kind of make it worse for me. So
okay.
Yeah.
It's great that you already have that understanding. Obviously, you're still a younger player, but to know that you have that understanding of your game, I think, is maybe light years ahead of some others. And you kind of touched on another question I had, which is you're finishing at these Elite Plus events. You finished second at 3 different Elite Plus events this year.
all 3 of them.
Yeah, which is incredible. What does that say when you're playing more rounds and there's a little bit more on the line? You seem to be stepping up, getting those podium finishing, but they don't match up necessarily at the majors for you. So, like, where is this evening out for you?
I am not exactly sure. I know. I thought about that. Like, the Elite Plus, I do really well. The 4-round majors, then Worlds wasn't great for me. I don't know if it's the just having 2 different courses, maybe. That's maybe what I noticed, is that all the Elite Plus is 2 different courses, except for this one. That's really the only thing I can think of as to why, but I thought about that too. I have no answer.
Okay. Well, at some point, one of the 2 of us will maybe come up with a solution. And then you also just said, how you put the bag down. Was anyone else in Michigan maybe surprised to not see you playing in the home state event last weekend in the CCR?
Yeah, I definitely say so. A lot of tour players, they're asking me if I'm playing that, and I say no. I don't think I've ever played CCR Open, just for no reason. Just that's always like the week right before, right after this tournament. So I always like a little more time at home just to soak in what time I have.
And that was my next question, which is here in your home state, obviously you've got a huge support network, but what was time off like here, and what were some of the things that you were able to do that was off the course?
Yeah, I mean, right after Idlewild, the next day I came up and I just parked in my RV outside my parents' house and spent the weekend up at the cottage on the lake, so that was nice. That took up most of the time that I had here, but I think I might get a few more days after the event to go back and recoup before the rest of the year.
Time on the lake or up at a cottage, is that a little bit of fishing? Is that just sitting, taking in the sun? Is that some swimming? What does that all include?
It's all of it. I mean, everything that you can imagine, really. Boat rides, jet ski rides, kayaking, fishing, swimming, everything.
And with that, who do you anticipate? Will you have any family members on the bag, or who will be able to be out here as part of your support network this weekend?
I think there'll be a bunch of people. I think just throughout the weekend. I think both my parents will be here. I think my uncle might be on the bag for one round, which will be fun. Other than that, I mean, I think I might be it. There might be some other family friends coming, but haven't quite locked that down yet.
What does that feel like? Obviously you came into the game so early. You had success at a very young age. I met you back when I think you were just 15 a number of years ago. People come into your home state, they see that you're out on the tour, literally traveling around the world, but then you come and play figuratively in your backyard. What does that feel like for you?
I mean, it's awesome. I mean, I wouldn't say I'm the local here, because I mean I'm still 2.5 hours away, from here, but I mean, it's cool. I've always wanted to play an Elite Series in my home state, and I mean, every year that D-Glow's been an Elite Series, except for 2018, I've played. So it's just fun knowing that I've competed at this course and this course alone for 8 tournaments now. I think this will be my 9th tournament at this course, so it's fun.
Well, and speaking of the course, we've seen a few different iterations of it, and then yet more changes as we're prepping not only for this weekend but for next year's World. So any thoughts on some of the changes that took place out here for this weekend's event?
Let me think. I mean, I still haven't played the new pin on 2 yet.
Okay.
I haven't gotten a chance. I saw that one. It's going to be interesting. That one, it's going to, force a lot of your drives to be left, I think, to open up the angle to get there. And then there was, I think, is it 12 up the hill?
Yeah.
Back-to-back holes, I think 11 down, 12 up. Those are both new. I don't mind them as much. 12 is okay. I think it could, I feel like in my opinion at least, there's not too much of a difference there to warrant a shorter, longer pin. But it'll definitely make it interesting. I feel like that's one in the shorter pin that's right is going to make, like, you want to get that one. Like, that's a must get, I feel like, or as much as you can get must get out here. And then 11 is, that one's okay too. I would have liked the FPO, is I feel like a very cool hole, but this one's also cool. Like, you can throw a driver, you can throw mid, you can do whatever you want, and it's just get your birdie.
Certainly a big topic is 15 with the longer tee pad.
Yeah. Okay.
And what's going to be required of that? That was always such a demanding shot and hole in general. Any thoughts on the new longer tee there?
Yeah, that one's fun. I guess from my practice, since I've learned, I'm going to try to stay as much away from the distance drivers this week as I can. It got me in trouble a few times, especially on like those downhill ones. The one gets away from you, goes in the woods, and never to be seen again out here, unfortunately. But that one's fun. I learned you can throw like a fairway driver, you can throw a 9-speed. That's what I'm doing down there. And that hole I feel like is really all about the drive. If you throw your drive good, you can chip, and you can get a pretty easy birdie. But I think I like it more than the par 4.
So you've got all these podiums at these Elite Plus events. What's it going to take? What needs to be buttoned up for this weekend for you to take home the victory?
4 great rounds instead of 3.5. I feel like that's been my problem this year. At least with the Elite Pluses, I'll shoot like 9 holes of round 1 will be great, and then like the first 9 holes won't be very good, and then I'll clean up in the back. And then by that point, I'm a little too far behind to catch up, so I need to get out hot from the gate.
All right, everyone. That's Kyle Klein. He's from Michigan, looking to do his home state proud this weekend. When we come back, we'll have Andrew Presnell. Thank you, Kyle.
Thank you.
Welcome back, everyone. Andrew Presnell joins us. And Andrew, we're going to go back a couple of weeks to the Idlewild Open. And it was quite the anomaly that you didn't finish inside the cash line. By the look on your face, I know that's not something that you're used to either. But what can you take away from that experience? Course, play, season, whatever. What do you take away from that?
For whatever reason, I've struggled at Idlewild the last couple of years. I think that's my 3rd year in a row not cashing at Idlewild. I was hoping 3rd time charm would have been a little better, but just kind of the same thing the last couple of years. Just got off to a slow start on the front 9, and then would play decent on the back. But you just have to play well at that course. It's a lot of lefty or forehand for the righty tee shots, and it's not the best part of my game. And so I try to force a lot of the backhand turnovers, and it definitely makes it harder to play that way out there.
Well, let's jump into this course, which I think I've heard a similar remark or maybe even criticism that this might favor the lefty spin a little bit better. Do you find that to be true, or is someone else just making that up?
I would agree. There's a handful of lefty holes that definitely benefit that type of spin. So if you got the big forehand or the backhand lefty, you're liking them.
I have a really good friend who's left-handed, and every course we go to, he always tells me about how uneven the righty-lefty combo is, not in his favor. So I guess my question would be, to follow that up, is this just a little bit of the reverse that we're not used to, or is this? Do we make a bigger deal out of it when we're right-handed and we actually have these?
I hear the same thing a lot because I play most of my practice rounds with Chris Clemens,
Yep.
and so he's anytime there is a good lefty hole, he's always thanking whoever that they finally made a lefty hole. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's just some holes are that way, and some play to the righty. It's maybe just being a righty, you don't notice it as much. I'm sure if you were a lefty, you might notice it a little more. But.
Yeah, some of that natural bias that we might have.
Yeah.
Let's get into the course specifically. You know, we've talked to the tournament director. We've also heard from Gannon Buhr, who's been, openly critical of some of the holes and the scoring separation on some of this course. What's your overall take, aside from the righty-lefty conversation? What's your take on the layout in the course?
Yeah, it's a challenging course. For me, I'm not one of the further throwers on tour, and so I really have to have my distance drivers dialed. There's out of bounds left and right almost every hole, and if you're not, for me specifically, if I'm not throwing basically as hard as I can't birdie some of these long par fours. So the drives are going to have to be dialed and just not taking the OB strokes, because that's what's killed me I feel like the last month or so. I've been going out of bounds more than usual.
And is there anything you can pinpoint that to or attribute it to when you're going out of bounds? Do you feel if that's disc selection or if that's timing and release angles, anything that you're analyzing?
Yeah, I feel like maybe my timing a little bit has been off. And, if you're off just a little bit, I mean, that's not good on the Pro Tour because they got OB and string and, natural OB everywhere. So,
when you look at a course like this, especially knowing that we're going to see it for the World Championships next year, is there an excitement? Is there an intimidation? What's your initial reaction when you say we're going to play toboggan?
I'm excited. I mean, I like playing out here. Super fun to throw the downhill shots. It's very very demanding as far as walking up the hills and throwing uphill. It's not really anything that we play on tour. And, I mean, I do like how challenging it is. I mean, you don't want to play a bunch of birdie or die golf all the time. And so this is one where a couple under par for me, I'm pretty happy, especially if it's windy like it is today. Getting a few birdies and trying to keep it clean is a solid round for me.
Well, speaking of the tour, you're sitting in one of those near cut positions to make it to the Tour Championship. Of course, got Green Mountain and then MVP after that. But as you sit in 28th today, is that added pressure? Is that something you thrive on, or is that something you're maybe not even concerned with at the moment?
I mean, I'm trying not to be too concerned with it right now. I know I'm in 28th, which is the last spot. And, if I play super well at this course, I might move up. But I know I have Green Mountain to look forward to, which I feel like that property kind of fits to my strengths a little bit more. And then you always have Maple Hill, where if you just play good the Maple Hill tournament, you can get in. So, this isn't like a do or die week for me. It's always a goal every season to make the Pro Tour Championship. And so, it's something I've been, thinking about in the back of my head all year. And now that we're coming down to the last 3 tournaments, it's full speed ahead. Just got to play well.
You just said that it's a goal to make the Tour Championship, understandably so. What does it mean to you to make it? What does that do for you your confidence, and what does that say about your game after a full season to get into the Tour Championship?
Yeah, I mean, it's like the best of the best all year. You've proven yourself all year that you're consistent enough to be in the top 28 players to go out there and compete for big money. And yeah, it's just also nice setting a goal, a long-term goal, and then achieving it. I think I've made the Tour Championship every year except maybe once. So yeah, it's always nice accomplishing that.
Aside from the Tour, you're out every weekend pretty much playing disc golf somewhere, winning events, playing in events, traveling around. At any point, do you get tired? Do you think about taking a break?
No, not at all. It's actually, I haven't played a lot of disc golf off the tour these last couple of months. We bought a house, so it's been a lot of house stuff, trying to get the house situated, and it's been doing that. So I've been doing a lot of trips where I'm going to Ledgestone, coming home for a couple days, go to Idlewild, go home, and then come to D-Glow, and then go home. And so it's been a lot of back and forth. The house, I think, is finally getting settled in, and so now I can kind of turn my focus back to disc golf and playing it.
Well, congratulations on that milestone. I got to ask now, does that mean are you remodeling? Are you just getting things set? Is it a matter of decorating? What is settling into a house look like for you and the stage of the house, so to speak?
Yeah, my fiance and I, we bought a house. It's brand new, so there's not much DIY that we have to do. It's just a lot of buying things that when we were renting we didn't need, like a lawnmower and stuff like that, and bought like a toolbox because now we have tools for when we need them. And so it's a lot of just things like that, and just making sure all the rooms are ready and the boxes are unpacked and just stuff like that.
All right. Well, lots of exciting things going on. Hopefully in that top 28 and then some, we'll add a few additions into the house, maybe some artwork and other things that you'll be able to put in there with extra winnings. Everyone, that's Andrew Presnell. We wish you the best of luck this weekend.
Yeah, thanks, Terry.
Welcome back, everyone. Max Kazadigs, the Disc Golf Pro Tour venue and logistics manager. I mean, that's what's on your, your security certificate, so to speak, on your badge. But so much more this weekend, Max.
Oh, yeah.
What are you doing this weekend, and what does that mean to the world?
So this is my second time being the DGPT event lead for an event. So what that means for me this week is just being a little bit more in tune with all the workings of the tournament. From the little things that need to happen to get the tournament set to some of the bigger decisions, making sure tee times are posted, making sure payouts are figured out, dealing with any potential weather delays, anything like that. So I'll be our main point of contact and main decision maker when it comes to if we have to delay for any reason. And just having looking at the bigger picture of the tournament rather than zooming in just on some of my normal logistics roles on the ground.
You're the boss man for the weekend, is
sure.
what we'll go with. When you say normal roles, what are some of the typical things when you're not the actual lead for a weekend? What are some of the typical things you're doing within the Disc Golf Pro Tour week in and week out here?
So weekends before events, I'm with our 3-person road ops crew, sometimes more, but setting up the courses, so getting all of our assets up, checking, make sure OB matches the caddy books, making sure all of our rules are cleared up, stuff like that. During events, I oversee the ticketing on the ground for most of our events, so helping make sure spectators know where they're going and get greeted and get their credentials and get on site so they can see their favorite players in action. I do some course officiating as well. That's a shared task that we have amongst some of our staff, so I do a lot of that now. And then whatever things come up, because things come up at disc golf tournaments, as you know. So
yeah,
just being around to help,
certainly week in and week out. Well, I mentioned it earlier that obviously Michigan always turns out for disc golf. It's such a great, not only state, but just entire region over here. One of our favorites. What does ticketing look like for this event? And are there tickets available? Where can they get them? What are some of the options and what should they expect when they get here?
Yeah, so we still have tickets available, both GA and VIP, I believe. We've got whatever tickets you could think of, we've got available right now, which is awesome. This is a great property that there's a lot of different ways to access the golf that's being watched. I know this year they added this new hole 15 MPO tee, and with that came a new viewing area that you can actually see down the entire tee shot of 15 from a stage over just to my left right now, which is really cool. That's something I'm really stoked the Ledgestone team has been adding to their events, is these viewing platforms that get you better viewing, especially for a course like this where you're throwing up and down almost seemingly every hole. That's really cool. GA can access a lot of this course, but there are definitely some areas that are VIP specific. The best viewing is always going to be VIP. There's snacks. There's other things that this team provides that are really great. But yeah, I mean, I know one of the first pictures I saw before I got this job was the toboggan full of people years ago, just like lining that entire toboggan up like a hole 1 in 18, which is it's really cool. So it's really cool to see that in person and see what it looks like getting this course filled up.
Yeah, and then I have to ask, are you already doing a little bit of maybe either mental or physical note-taking for the next year's World Championships that are going to be held here? Is that something that you're also kind of always jostling around in your head?
Yeah, it's always cool to be on a venue and think about how it can handle what Worlds always brings. I know for my first year on tour, GMC was Worlds. So like that was like my first GMC, which was really wild, and seeing the impact that just having a World Championship brings to people. So I know that this place is going to be packed. I did get to check out a bit of the other course, more for a casual round that I wanted to see. I wanted to play some fun disc golf.
Research, work
exactly.
research.
Yeah, so I'm definitely, I don't know what my role, if any, will be with World Championships next year, seeing as it's a PDJ major, but I'm always thinking about what the venue, the experience. I'm excited to see what Worlds can bring to this community here and what the community can do for it too.
Well, as we dial in for this weekend, I know I heard Seth Muncy on a call earlier today in a meeting talk about weather that's coming in. Obviously, we deal with a lot of different conditions throughout the year, but this weekend, what did you learn? Cold, but
cold.
No other weather other than maybe just a cold front coming in?
Cold and windy is what I'm hearing. We might get some wind, maybe more wind than we've seen in a few events recently, which is exciting from a spectating standpoint, maybe less fun for the players that are dealing with elevation. Is a whole change on its own, and you throw wind into it. But cold, which is kind of nice. A couple events ago at Ledgestone, we had a lot, and in Des Moines, before Europe, we had 2 really hot events. So it's starting to feel a little bit like fall, which is kind of my favorite disc golf weather. So I'm pretty excited for it.
And if we just pull back the curtain a little bit more on that, you're here as the lead, but the resources that are ultimately used and relied upon, maybe just give a brief explanation of who you contact and then, kind of the insight that we get from Seth or other services.
Are you talking about for weather in
for
general?
Weather in particular. When just, all the things that go into Disc Golf Pro Tour weather concerns.
We're always tracking. We have someone's tracking. Seth, when he's not on site, he's tracking for us. We have a meteorologist that helps us observe and make sure that we're ready for anything coming in. We've got Perry Weather's an app that we use that's pretty reliable. Apple weather, not so reliable. So, we have something a little bit more established that we're always watching. Sometimes if we know stuff's coming, we're watching it pretty consistently, and sometimes we get to take some breaks from it and just enjoy running a disc golf tournament.
One of the other exciting parts about being on site at our large-scale tournaments can be disc drops or product drops, signings, extracurriculars. From a Pro Tour perspective, we've got a couple of things in the works. Did I hear something with some discs and some other things?
Yeah, I know Discraft at this event always drops something fun. I've seen some sneak previews on social media recently of some more of like the Mario-themed Lunas coming out that are pretty awesome. I know we're actually doing the Pro Tours getting to do a little early drop of a disc for GMC coming up, which I think will be available at the Fly Mart for the first time, which I'm going to try to get my hands on if I can get there early enough to grab one. It's a new Zone SS that dropped. Anyways, I'm excited. I throw Zone, so I'm excited to get my hands on the tweak of that.
Maybe with that, describe what it's like to be a disc golf player and fanatic, but then also here we are on the Pro Tour, so many of us blessed that we're doing disc golf for a career in one way or another. What has that meant to you over these last couple of years?
It's been pretty amazing. My first year, I think I was still really like just in shock of the whole thing, and I was a sucker for the disc drops, so every time we're at a Discraft event, they always find something that they wanted me to buy. I've gotten better at that part of it, but I feel really fortunate that I've been able to find a career in disc golf. My wife works for UDisc as well, so our household is full disc golf employees, which is crazy. 3 years ago, my wife and I were teachers 4 years ago, and now we both work full-time in disc golf. We get to see the professional side, the casual side, and things in between, and it's pretty incredible to see that that's an option now for people. Not just professional players, you can be a professional in disc golf in a lot of other ways as well.
Yes, and with that, hashtag blessed is something we can all throw out there. Well, Max, in some ways, I hope we don't have to see or hear from you the rest of the weekend because that means everything's going smoothly, but we know that if we need to reach out, that you're going to have all the answers, and best of luck to you this weekend along with the rest of the event.
Awesome. Thanks, Terry.
Everyone will be right back with Silva Saarinen. Welcome back, everyone. Joining us now is Silva Saarinen, our highest-rated international FPO player this weekend. Silva, I'll start with some basics, which is when did you travel back to the U.S. and how did things go with travels?
I came on Sunday, so I have played 2 practice rounds now, and yeah, I feel good.
Different course this year. It changed a little bit. Some minor changes on the course. Anything that you noticed? Any big changes for you?
I haven't played here earlier, so I don't know the changes, but it looks nice, and I think it's a good course. So
fair. Okay. A better question then is, what do you think of the course?
I like it. There is a lot of up and down hills, and yeah, I have played courses with hills in Finland as well, so yeah, it's nice.
Right after the Worlds, you played in the Turku Open, and you had a playoff with Kaidias Alu. Another playoff, but this time you win it. What do those experiences mean in terms of having just playoff experience, the pressure, and then coming out ahead? What does that mean for you?
Hard to say, but yeah, in Turku I played pretty bad last round, and that's why we had that playoff.
Okay.
It was the worst round of that tournament, but I knew I can win that playoff, so I did it. But I don't know what does it mean to me.
I guess I was thinking of the experience of being in a playoff. But let's go to more recently. You became the Finnish national champion. That was your first time winning that, correct?
Yes.
What does that mean to you to win the Finnish national championship?
I have tried it many times already, and I'm happy that I was able to do it. And it was one of my goals, and it's already my first title. Yeah, it's nice to be Finnish champion.
Congratulations on that. What I was going to also say is you have 3 wins this year along with the major. You have 3 DGPT wins along with the major. Do you think about possibly being player of the year, or what that would mean, or is that a goal? Is that something that you've thought about, is, hey, if I play well the rest of the year, I might be player of the year? Do you care?
Not really. I haven't thought about that, so I don't know what's going on with that.
All right. Any particular strategy for this weekend? A 4-round tournament at this beautiful course. It's very challenging, but what's your strategy?
What is strategy?
Yeah, like game plan. What? How will you attack the course?
Okay, yeah.
Yeah. Sorry.
I would say it's important to stay on the fairway, and that's maybe the most important thing here. All of roughs are really rough.
My last question for you is, with you being here now, are you here all the way through the Tour Championships? Will you return to Finland at all, or are you here in the U.S. for the next 6 to 8 weeks?
Yeah, I'm gonna be here 7 weeks, so yeah, it's a long trip coming.
All right. Sarah Holcomb has some questions for you. Thank you.
Hi, Silva.
Hello.
Good to see you back in the U.S. Welcome back.
Thank you.
For this 7-week stretch that you're going to be here, is there anything in the U.S. that you like to spend your time doing in order to relax differently maybe than you do at home?
I don't know, but after this week we are going to Killington, what is in Vermont. I'm going there with Henna, and maybe I'm gonna hike or see some mountains and that ski resort there.
Excellent. What did you do the last couple of weeks that you had off? What did that look like for you when you were in Finland preparing to come here?
Pretty much I was just chilling. It was a long stretch in Europe, and I played 10 tournaments in 11 weeks, and it's much, so I needed to rest. But yeah, of course I was practicing as well.
So you're still playing a little bit, but you didn't push it too hard?
Yes.
Yeah. Do you still putt every day? What's your putting routine like?
No, I didn't putt every day, but maybe a few times in a week.
Okay. So you're sitting at the second in C2 and third in C1X. So the trick is just a couple times a week in the off week, right? We don't have to putt every single day.
I don't think so. It
Yeah.
depends on.
Depends on how you're playing, perhaps?
I wouldn't say. It depends on how does it feel right now. If it feels good, I don't need to do it much. But if it doesn't feel good, I do it more.
Is there anything about this course that you can draw on from experience in the past? I see you haven't played this tournament before this year. Are there other courses that you've played that remind you of any of the holes out here?
Not really, but maybe last year's World Championships, that other golf course, there were something same, but
Well,
maybe.
that checks out. The same guy designed the holes, so similar design concepts. Are there any discs in particular that you're going to rely on? Some people say this is kind of a forehand friendly course. A lot of left to right turning shots down big hills. Do you have any particular lines or discs that you're going to be throwing to manage those and stay in bounds?
I would say those lines are pretty easy for backhand as well. But of course, you need to throw. Oh my god!
Well, what are you throwing on hole one? What does that look like for you? It's a big downhill, hard to get to. Are you going to try to throw a slow turn? Are you going to throw a flex shot? Are you laying up?
I'm gonna throw just mid-range turnover, and I might get a birdie, but maybe not, and it's fine. I don't need that.
Yeah, not very many birdies on that one, but it is accessible. How many practice rounds did you get out here?
I'm going to play third practice round today, and
Okay. That's good.
that's it.
Lastly, I just kind of want to ask, have you lost any discs out here?
Not yet.
Not yet. Oh, wow. Excellent. I was going to get the spectators to go find them for you if we could find them, if we knew where they were at.
Maybe
But-
today I will.
Yeah, the wind is pretty tough out
Yes.
here. Do you have a strategy for the wind?
I would say yes.
Yeah, right. Down the hills, up the hills. The wind typically doesn't stay the same when you're up the hill or down the hill. Is that similar to anything you've experienced? Are there other courses you've played where the wind swirls?
I have played in many conditions, so it's not a problem for me.
All right, so just a piece of cake. It's another course for you. All right.
Yep.
Well, we look forward to watching you compete out here this week and wish you the best of luck.
Yeah. Thank you.
We'll be back with Paul McBeth in just a little bit.
Welcome back, and joining us as our last guest of the day is Paul McBeth. Paul, a couple weeks ago, picked up the victory at Idlewild. Lots of talk about that, obviously, and part of that was just the media circuit. You were everywhere, as you should be. What was that like? Media has gotten much bigger, but what was that like going on all the podcasts, talking to all the people about a victory?
Yeah, there's a lot more podcasts nowadays. I'm glad there was a week off. I don't know if I would have done them all, knowing that I had a tournament coming up. So it's good they're all front loaded Monday, Tuesday, but it was fun. It was good to talk to the media again, see some familiar faces. But yeah, it's always nicer after a win, because I know I was scheduled to talk with you already. So I'm glad we had more to talk about than just the throw for more.
Well, let's go to that just for a second then, because it is such an incredible campaign. Paul McBeth Foundation working on a Throw for More campaign for September 20th. What can you tell the world about it?
Yeah, Throw for More. I mean, just kind of the background is what we used to do in like elementary school or middle school, kind of like a jogathon or walkathon where people pledge money to you to do as many laps as you can. And we're kind of doing that with holes and rounds through UDisc. So you can be a player and track your round through UDisc, and for every round you complete, that's 10 cents that UDisc will donate, and that's all across the world. No matter where you are, no matter what course, as long as it's on UDisc, they're going to pledge that money. But then if you want to go play a ton of holes, you can get individuals that maybe can't play that day, which is September 20th, to pledge money towards you. So people can pledge money towards me, which I'll be competing in GMC on Saturday, and they could sponsor me for the holes that I'm playing. Or they can pick their favorite players or whoever they want. So it's a really cool concept, and UDisc is stepping up for that big time. And yeah, I think we're doing really good. We're almost to our pledge goal right now. I think we're maybe 2,000 or 3,000 away. We still got a couple weeks left, but yeah, things are going great. Great concept, and I'm excited to see how it pans out, because I did say, I think on your podcast, I'll sponsor anyone that's going to do a 24-hour kind of September 20th day. So I've seen a couple. I don't know who. I've got a couple messages. I don't know who's serious about it yet or not, though.
Well, I know Broderick, for instance, is hot and heavy about being part of that 24-hour challenge. And as you said, anyone that's going to give it a full 24 hours, you'll personally go out there and make some pledges. So we love it. You can find more information all out on your page and in terms of the Throw for More campaign. I want to go back to, you just said, the week off.
Yeah.
You're one of the busiest guys in disc golf. You have been for a number of years. What does a week off of competitive play look like for you and your family?
Yeah, we went back to Virginia. Hannah and Pablo were actually in Kentucky for the Idlewild tournament, which they weren't supposed to be. They were supposed to go back and visit beforehand, but some people got sick, so we thought it was better that they'd stick around, and I ended up winning, so it was even better. But yeah, for me, it was kind of just recover. I was rear-ended on Wednesday before Idlewild, so that kind of sucked because I felt that throughout the tournament, but it was good to have the week off to recover. And now my car's in the shop. But it was good. We got to spend time with family. I came up here on Friday, so I had, 3 or 4 days down there to visit. It's good to be with my son, actually playing, not going to the course every day. But I did get a look at Ivy Hills, which you mentioned earlier, and New London. So looking forward to getting out there in Virginia and playing as well.
Yeah, you're ahead of a couple of my questions talking about course design. I want to talk about here and about Black Locust in terms of worlds, but let's jump ahead to when we're in Virginia and seeing what's going on there. New London Tech is, revered by so many as such an incredible place, and then it's had to undergo some changes. Can you kind of give the cliff notes of what's going on out there?
Yeah, it's pretty much completely redesigned. There's a couple holes, maybe somewhere like 3 to 6 that are the same from the original layout, but there are some familiar fairways and basket positions and tee pads, but the holes are pretty different on a majority, and then there's a lot of new holes. The land they gave us kind of goes the outskirts of that property that we were on, but the land they gave us has a lot more elevation change, so that's really cool for that piece. But it does seem like it's a lot longer course now. I don't think statistically it says that, but because of the elevation change now, it does feel like a much bigger course. It's a lot of fun. I haven't played a ton of rounds on it yet, but it's getting a lot of good reviews, so I'm excited for that.
Well, let's bring some of that excitement to course tweaks and I'll say designs or tweaks out here on this property, do you have conversations with Nate Heinold or anyone else when it comes to this property or what we're going to see for the other Worlds course, the Black Locust course? Have you had any input?
No, zero input. I mean, they asked after everything's changed and stuff like that. So I saw this course. This course I saw Saturday for the first time. So I kind of played a couple holes with Bob, Julio. He showed me the hole changes, the layouts of the new tee pads and things like that. Which to me it's kind of funny because when I shot the 18 down here a few years ago, the par 3s were so hard and the par 4s were a little soft. It's complete opposite now. The par 3s are a little soft and the par 4s are extremely hard. So it's kind of funny to see how this course shifted like that. But I haven't seen Black Locust once, so I don't know. I know there's a course over there, or two courses. I've played a couple holes on them before in years past just for fun, but I have no clue what to expect over there.
I think I just overheard you saying a few minutes ago that you're done with practice for the day. Is that weather conditions, and why are you wrapping it up?
No, I played 9 holes because I have the Play with the Champs later, so I was going to be out there again. And it's quite windy, swirly, dry, dusty, everything that someone with allergies doesn't want to be in. So I figured it just drains your energy, just allergies in general. So I knew that I had the Play with the Champs at 4, so I figured I'd just relax until then.
And obviously, Discraft's backyard, so to speak, here for one of their flagship events. Sometimes that comes with extra activities, like you're mentioning, at 4 o'clock. What else is going to be going on this week where you're obligated to be part of it?
I don't know if I have anything. Maybe a signing on one day, but I think I've done most of the stuff I need to. That's why I came on Friday, so I've been here for quite a while. I've done a lot of videos and media, well, not necessarily media stuff, but with Discraft and stuff like that. And I still have one more thing after the Play with the Champs, but it's Nate Heinold running it, so you might find out an hour before you're supposed to do a signing. So
you're obligated.
I might have another couple things to do this week, but we'll see.
A little bit of buzz and hype, so to speak, around what we saw from the level up disc. And are we going to see another iteration this weekend? Is that what I saw?
They have a power up coming out at some point, and then they announced the Big Head Big Z Lunas. So that's probably on either the D-Glow Instagram or Ledgestone Instagram, one of the two. But those were definitely shown at some point this week already.
Suffice to say, you haven't gotten any threats from Nintendo. Everybody's worried about copyright and those challenges. You haven't been hit with any lawsuits, have you?
I'm pretty sure those guys have mustaches, so I don't
so you're
see
in the
any
clear?
mustaches on any of these images. So
makes perfect sense. Gannon talked earlier about not only what it might take for him and his records rating that he wants to surpass you at, but just the scores of maybe averaging 9 under per round.
For this course?
Yeah, for this course. What have you thought? You just talked about how difficult the par 3s or par 4s are and such. Have you thought about numbers that might be good out here?
18's not bad out here. No, I honestly don't know. The weather could be the first cold tournament in a long time for us. Like low 60s, it looks like it could be. There's a chance of rain. It's blowing pretty hard right now. So I think the elements are going to be the biggest factor out of anything. But like I mentioned, the par 3s have gotten pretty soft out here. The par 4s are really hard. So it's going to be inevitable for the bogeys to show up. Do I think 9's possible for every round? Sure. But, in this weather, 9's absolutely great. I think calm conditions, 9's okay. Yeah.
Yeah, and then maybe that's my final question is, what will you change up? Let's just assume high of 63 every day, which is roughly what's in the forecast, mild to moderate winds. What are you preparing for when you go out for your round? What adjustments do you make to your attire or your bag or your mentality? What do you prepare for with those conditions?
Dress a little bit warmer. That's a given. Pants, maybe long sleeve and stuff like that. I don't think that's jacket weather yet, but man, this wind is hard because you're throwing down some of these big hills and it's so hard to control the shots because you don't know, like you could be at the top of the hill, you don't know what's going on at the bottom, which way it's going. It could be the exact opposite. So you tend to go a little bit more overstable than you need. Sometimes you just end up really short. Sometimes you get the flight you want, but it is very difficult. So I think that's where the par threes and some of the wooded holes, there are some pretty good wooded stretches. I think that's where those holes become really important. And then, par is good on a lot of the open ones, but there's some tough stretches on this course. The finishing stretch and then the beginning stretch, honestly. So you got to get that middle section.
Now my last question is, we know that with every tournament you enter, you have an expectation or the possibility that you can win it. Coming off Idlewild, coming to this event, what kind of statement would that send if you could put together back-to-back Pro Tour victories?
Yeah, I think Gannon's probably the only one that's done that this year. But it's funny because it's actually the exact opposite of what you said, is I don't want any expectations. I want to go out there, throw the shots I know I can throw, putt well. Putting's never perfect, so I want to putt well and just stay focused. I think that was the biggest thing I did early at Ledgestone and then at Idlewild. And it just, coming into this one, I have a little different feel because I think I know the adjustments I've made and that I can continue to focus on. So just keep the expectations low and just go out there and try to throw 4 great rounds.
All right, everyone. Well, we're hoping that you will focus in on the Disc Golf Network. Coming tomorrow morning, we'll be kicking off round 1 on the FPO side for Paul McBeth, along with everyone else here on the Disc Golf Pro Tour. Thanks for joining us for the press conference, and we'll see you tomorrow as we kick off the tournament here at the Great Lakes Open.
Thank you.